Hello, good morning. Just like most mornings, it's just another lovely day here in the Philippines. And my thought for the day is aimed at, dare I say it, Americans again. As we often talk about and address the American issue, because like I've said before, 65% of my viewers are from the US of A. And therefore, it seems a bit stupid to pretend that they don't form part of the daily thoughts that come within my thoughts for the day. Many of you guys who decide to come here to the Philippines will often find yourselves 2 years later, after you arrive here, after you've been living the dream, after you've been experiencing the real Philippines as you see it, will have probably gone back, will have thrown the towel in and said, "Nah, I can't take enough of this." The brownouts, the cash machines not working, the roads, the traffic, the karaoke machines, the dogs barking. Part of this is inevitable for many people, especially when we get older. We're not quite so able to handle the inconveniences, the things that are difficult, and therefore there comes a time where you say enough is enough, and a lot of Americans, of course, are actually doing that here in the Philippines. And unfortunately, I have to say that by the time you get to 3 years, nearly 70% of you will have gone home. Now, I suppose you could say that that in itself is disappointing from the point of view of picking up sticks, selling everything, heading off to the Philippines, only to, in effect, just stay maybe 3 to 4 years here. And most of the reasons are, inevitably, family connections. Even though you say you don't talk to them, you are drawn to the family. Uncles, aunts, nephews, nieces, extended parts of your family back home. Which at the time when you came here, you said that doesn't really matter. They're not really part of my life anymore. But sooner or later, you're drawn back to that connection with parts of America that you came from. And then also the other bigger thing is that as you get older, you have to ask yourself, will you have enough money to pay the increasing costs of medication for some of the ailments that you find yourself with? Will you have enough money to pay somebody to come and look after you when you're poorly? Will you be able to afford hospitalization? Or will you find yourself hostage to the hospital and relying on somebody to somehow bail you out? Because these are very big issues here in the Philippines. And when you get to late 70s, early 80s and beyond, maybe you haven't got all of your faculties that you thought you had and were going to have, and you've become a little senile, forgetful, maybe even crotchety old men. And therefore, I better not go all the way up to the highway, but we'll do a 360 and we'll come back and walk back this way again. But this is the point. Will you live out your life here in the Philippines? Will you be buried here? Will you get to the end peacefully? Or will it be a dreadful interlude of your whole life? A big mistake. Something that you wished you never had come to. Okay, when you first came here, you're like the gunslinger. You wanted notches on your gun. And you thought you were going to have your second life here. Beautiful girls, different one each night. You know, we've heard them. What do they call them? Knuckleheads. That's right, knuckleheads. But for the majority of us who've settled down with a Filipina, as we get older and as we slip maybe into that foggy life that we have as a person with maybe dementia, Alzheimer's, you name it. Maybe we might say to ourselves at that point, just before we go over the hill into that fog, well, I won't know about it anyway. But have you left enough for the family to look after you? Does that family really want to be the one given the responsibility of looking after you? Maybe you were lucky enough to be able to sign over a pension later on in life, so that when you die, she who must be obeyed today is in receipt of at least maybe half of what you had before, which for her will be like winning the lottery. So maybe that's her incentive to look after you after she's given the best years of her life, bringing you to this point. You just really have to look at the big picture. You know, it's okay saying I'm going to find myself a lovely lady and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But beyond the 2 or 3 years when you've been here, were you really thinking about your future? Or were you like Filipinas, thinking about everything only for today, not worried about tomorrow? Everybody waiting for the rush of school kids to come and buy their snacks at morning tea time. So, if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and press the notification button. And most of all, share it and subscribe. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye now.